Hey everybody, and welcome to our early comic review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are releasing this week to your local comic book store. They come out on Wednesday, so we are going to tell you a little bit more about them and why maybe there will be for you.
And this time, it'll have sound.
This time it'll have sound.
Right.
That is our special promise to you.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have started it by just like mouthing words and...
Yeah, build this whole narrative of like, well, you don't know what you're gonna get.
You never know.
But there's a lot of great books coming out this week, so we want to show you some of them and let you know that if you head on over to infinityflux.net right now, these books are live right there. You can go ahead and order them, so when they're released on Wednesday, you don't have to worry about scrambling trying to get them. You'll already have your name on one, whether you shop in the store, it'll be in your pull box, or if you are not from around here, we can mail it to you.
That's right.
But a lot of these books are going to sell out. I just got to say that at the top of the show because, holy cow, there's some awesome books this week.
A lot of variants, too. So, yeah.
A lot of variants. Yeah, those are also what sell out really fast.
Right. So, let's get started with DC KO Boss Battle. What the heck is this? So, this is this is a one-shot that is a tie-in to DC KO. And this is written by Jeremy Adams, and the art is by Ronan Cliquette, Carmen Domenico, Kieran McCown, and Pablo M. Collar. So you have a whole host of talent in here. And this is interesting because this starts and ends in the exact same place, which is right at the end of DC KO number 3. Right, if you read DC KO number 3, you know that there's 4 champions left in the DC KO tournament. And you know who they were about to go fight in the next round. Mm-hmm. Well, in this issue, Time Trapper comes running in and basically says, you guys don't have enough Omega energy built up yet to face off against those guys. If you try to fight them right now, you'll lose. You need to build up more energy. So what he does is he opens rifts to other realities, other universes.
And they're like literally cracks in the ground.
Yeah, they're cracks in the ground, yeah. So it makes it easy to understand. And he also... revives 4 other heroes who had previously been knocked out of the tournament to join the 4 champions that are left. So you've got 8 characters, and they jump into these rifts, so they go to these other worlds. And from there, the book is just action-packed. We see characters like Homelander, we see characters like Vampirella and Red Sonja and Sub-Zero and Samantha Strong from Beneath the Trees, the Annabelle doll, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I think I covered them all. And, various heroes fight those various other characters. And the whole book is just those characters fighting each other, which is crazy. Now, I don't want to tell you all the matchups, but we do know it's been publicly released that Superman fights Homelander.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, I will say, too, that there's, so what is that, 8 different fights, or maybe there's 7 different fights. And it's only like a 40-page book or something, so don't expect like a really long, drawn-out. Some of these are just a page or 2.
Yeah.
But it's still really, really cool to see a bunch of characters from DC go up against a bunch of other characters, not just from one other publisher, but several other publishers as well. And then, those fights, they come to an end, and it's time to go into DC KO number 4, which comes out next week. Mm-hmm. Just a really, really fun book. Again, this is very not necessary for DC KO, but it's still a ton of fun. This is a lot like a side quest in a video game.
Yeah.
Where you're playing through the main story, but then there's a quest giver over there. And if I go do that quest, I'll get a little tiny mini story before I go back to the main story.
And get an XP boost.
Yeah, and if you don't go do that side quest, the main story is still the same as it always would have been. Yeah, it remains unchanged, right? But if you do go on that side quest, you get a little bit of a and like an XP boost is right, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a power boost by fighting these other characters. So it's not necessary for DC KO at all. However, it's really, really fun. When's the last time or when's the next time we'll see Superman fight a Homelander or, Wonder Woman fight Red Sonja? I'll tell you that much, So, it's just really fun. It's just a one shot. You can pick it up, you can read it, have fun with it. And then when you close it, you will be ready to jump into DC KO number 4. And if you don't read this, you'll still be ready to jump into DC KO number 4, because that's how number 3 ended last time. Mm-hmm. So I recommend it. It's really fun. It's like And you know, you might think, well, why did they make it? They made it to have fun. That's
Yeah.
literally why this exists, is to just have fun in comic books and to get people excited about reading comics. And I highly recommend them.
Yeah, the matchups are not all how you expect.
Mhm.
They're not even maybe what have been shown on variant coverage or whatever. It might be a little mixed up from that.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're not going to get this huge story where Homelander and Superman, discuss the morals of what
Yeah,
they do or
right.
anything. It's nothing like that. It's a lot of, wham bam, punch you through a building
Yeah.
or, but there is some, it's like characters like Annabelle. How does that work?
Yeah.
Well, you have to read it to find out about that. Or Samantha Strong from
Well-
Beneath the Trees is another one that's like it's a little bit different than
Yeah.
you expect.
And that's my favorite part of the book, is all the parts with Samantha Strong, because when they first announced that she'd be part of it, I was like, you know, she's a bear with a knife. I mean, what's she gonna do? You see what she does in here, and it's remarkable. It's
Also,
great.
She's a bear with a knife.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
it's
is scary
great.
enough.
Yeah, it's great. So this is a ton of fun. Don't try to think too hard about it. Just open up a book and have a great time reading, because that's what it's for. So this is our A cover right here, and we've got we got a bunch of variants for this one. So this is the Derek Robertson Superman Homelander. He was
Which is
the boys
The
artist,
boys'
right?
arts, yeah.
We have, this is the Patrick Horvath Samantha Strong Joker cover. We have this Frank Cho, yeah, Wonder Woman and Red Sonja and Vampirella and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So that's really cool. This is the Gleb Melnikov.
AEW.
It's weird because, yeah, this is Lex Luthor against I don't know who that is from AEW, and we also have DC AEW #1, and I thought this went with that, but no, this is a boss battle cover.
Yeah.
This doesn't have anything to do with DC AEW, and DC AEW doesn't have anything to do with KO.
Yeah,
So don't get that too mixed up. And then this is the Jeff Spokes. This is a wraparound cover. This was the promo art, wasn't it? When they first announced this. And then we have the foil version of that as well. And then there is a blank sketch variant, so you can draw your own matchups. That's it. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
We're continuing with DCKO with what I think we both mutually may say is our pick of the week.
Yep.
This is DCKO Knightfight #4, the final issue of Knightfight. And, this is kind of another series that doesn't play. We'll see going forward how much this does lead into a.
Well, we do know one major thing that this affects in the tournament.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read this, but then when you go read DCKO #4, you might think, huh, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And that gets explained in this series.
But mostly, I think this is just a really cool excuse to have this story about Batman facing off against his sons as they are their own version of Batman. Well, he's been through, Red Hood, Jason Todd as Batman and his very twisted version, or Dick Grayson, who has his very regimented version of Gotham City. But the Heart of Apocalypse this whole time has been you're not really playing by the rules. You're finding these ways to circumvent. I want you, Batman, to fight this other Batman. I want you to go all out against them. And at the end of the last issue, it was kind of fine, I see what you're doing. I've got a different kind of, match for you.
Yeah.
And that's where we see Damian's version of the future with Damian as Batman. And this is very different because, we saw at the end of the last issue, this is a kind of idealized version of Gotham. This is the Gotham that Batman, Bruce Wayne, has been striving towards. This is what his goal as Batman has been. They mentioned in this that, Damian doesn't really put on the bat suit anymore. There's no need.
Bruce says that Gotham City has been healed.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting. It's not just oh yeah, he got rid of all the crime. No, he healed the city.
Yeah, and you see that. It's bright.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit more like Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce Wayne has a grandson. And we saw that just right at the end of the previous issue. And that plays a big part in here. Because now Bruce is in a world where he wants to get out. He wants to re-enter the KO tournament so he can get the Omega energy and fight Darkseid and everything. But can he really fight this? I mean, this is what he's always wanted. It's a life that his family's there. You know, you don't only see Damien, but you see all his family,
Mm.
and they're all older, and they, you know, have kind of chilled out a little bit. And that's really, really fun. Plus, he's got this grandson that he loves and he reads stories to. It seems like he spends quite a bit of time
Yeah.
in this universe. One thing I did like about this, Damien in this knows that this isn't right.
Right.
Like he's like, "Yep, I believe you. This is a dark side thing. Our universe shouldn't exist. I've talked to a lot of experts, you know, in the superhero field, and we're trying to work out ways of maybe we can kind of circumvent this. But also maybe if Batman wins the tournament, this could be the reality."
Yeah. He could use the power of the King Omega to make this world a reality.
Yeah, and I mean that
Which I thought was blew my mind. I was like, oh shoot, he really could do that.
Yeah.
You know.
And so this is very heartfelt. It's not super action packed. There is like, you know, he does do some sparring. He does some training now with the older members of his family. But this is just a really like interesting look at like, okay, Batman, this is what you want. Now, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It is heartwarming and sad and cool, and it's cool to see these characters kind of in this new form. There's a lot of like just fun moments of like Bruce kind of getting to let his hair down and
Yeah.
enjoy being with his family.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Bruce this happy and maybe
He
relaxed
watches
before.
anime with his grandson.
Yeah, which is great.
And
And it's heartbreaking because he knows this isn't a real world. So it's like he's the happiest he's ever been, but he knows he can't keep this. He knows he can't hang on to it. Or maybe he can't. Maybe he'll be able to later. But as of right now, you know, he's like, this isn't real. But maybe I don't want to leave this reality. Or I mean, it's
and basically to get out of this, he has to fight and potentially kill Damien. Like that's what the heart wants him to do. So what happens? Does he get out of this situation? How does he get out of this situation? You'll have to read it to find out. But I think this has been a fantastic miniseries, and this is the best issue of this fantastic miniseries.
Agree.
Where every issue has been good.
Yeah.
So I honestly can't wait for this to come out in a collected edition. I hope it's just, you know, Batman Knightfight or DCKO Batman Knightfight.
Well, I hope they do a DCKO omnibus with just put everything in there, you know?
Yeah. But this is so good. This is going to sell out. One, you get to see like kind of what their updated gear looks like. That's really cool. You know, you see Damien in his suit. That's kind of a version of his like Batman 666 suit. But yeah, this was just so
such
fun.
a good issue. I mean, it almost brought a tear to my eye just thinking, you know, from the perspective of you know, having a kid myself and knowing like how happy he makes me, but then if I knew that I couldn't keep that and seeing how happy Bruce was and the way that Damien's written, the way that Alfred, who is his grandson, is written, the way Dan Mora draws all of them, and oh my gosh, it's just it gets you right here. It really does.
Yeah. So this is great. This will sell out like every issue of Night Fight has done, and rightly so. This is probably my pick of the week.
Yeah, it's mine for sure.
So we've got our A cover here, and we've got a Chris Burnham variant. We've got also this really nice Yasmin Putri variant. It's kind of a big like summation of all of the worlds he went up against.
Well, we're going to stay along those lines and talk about Batman number 6. Now, this is just the mainline Batman book. No DCKO, no night fights in here. And
we look, there's no night fights in here.
No fighting of knights in here. So at the end of last issue, Damien, who was dressed as Robin, referred to Bruce as father, even though Bruce was in his civilian clothes, and he did that right in front of Dr. Zeller. So the first couple of pages of this issue are Bruce and Dr. Zeller having a conversation about you know what happened and you know just their whole date night before that. And then after that conversation, it seems like everybody is mad at everybody. Bruce is mad at Damien for being so careless. And then Dr. Hugo Strange is mad at the head of the gang. You know, last issue we saw that biker gang that was chasing them. Well, Dr. Hugo Strange is mad at the head of that gang for not bringing in Bruce and Dr. Zeller like they were tasked to do. So in order to get revenge on that gang, Doctor Hugo Strange. I have to say Doctor Hugo Strange, or else I say Doctor Strange, and then it
Yeah.
just sounds weird, right? But Doctor Strange sends his monster men after that gang, and that leads into a cool like little fight scene between Batman and the monster men, and that's what you see on the cover here. But this isn't the whole issue. So that's part of the issue. We also get a nice moment, a nice conversation between Tim and Bruce. We get another moment between Tim and Damian. The last couple of pages lead right into Batman #7, which Andy and I read last week, and it's a phenomenal issue as well. No action in that one, but that deals with the Joker in a way that you've never seen him before. So we'll talk more about that issue next month. But the end of this leads into that. So just a lot of stuff going on in this one. There's not one like mainline through story. There's just like a bunch of little smatterings of things here and there.
This kind of pushes all the stories a little bit forward.
We also get a little bit too of, you remember that like in issue 2 or 3, that little kid who saw Commissioner Vandal Savage plant some evidence at the crime scene where a cop was killed. Well, there was a little boy who recorded video of that, and he went to a reporter about it. They come back around on this too, so we see some more of them as well. So yeah, every little facet of this series so far, like you said, gets pushed forward a little bit more. And then next issue, I think, is the start of like a new story arc.
Yeah.
It's going to focus around the Joker, but a different kind of Joker than what you're used to. So a lot of stuff going on in here, but still very, very good. Wonderful artwork. We get more little insets with bat gadgets, which I love that too.
He's got some cool ones in this one.
Yeah, so a phenomenal issue, Batman. I have been loving this series so much, and I love this issue too. So there is your A cover right there, and we have a bunch of variants. This is the Jim Lee variant. We have this Julian Totino Tedesco cover. I like this one a lot. This is the Gerald Perel variant. I like the colors on that one. We have the Jorge Jimenez Bat Gadget variant. We have the who's doing? Is these Chrissy Zullo?
Chrissy Zullo.
Chrissy Zullo. What do they call these? The
Valentine's Day card.
Yeah, Valentine's card variant. We have the foil Virgin variant of the A cover there. And we have a 1 in 25 David Aja cover. And we're selling that one for $14.99.
One of the few books at DC that has incentives anymore.
Yeah.
There is not a lot of incentives at DC anymore, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Yeah, they've scaled back their incentives a lot. And I think even on some of the books we talked about on Comics from the Future last week, there's a few 1 in 25s here and there.
Yeah.
But there's no like 1 in 50s, 100s, 250. Yeah, DC's really scaled that back a lot.
Well, and next up, we have Ultimate Endgame #2. And of course, this is one of the biggest things going on at Marvel right now with the end of the alleged end of the Ultimate Universe. We'll keep saying that. And the craziness that is this big culmination with Ultimate Endgame. So, last we left our heroes, we've got Tony Stark as Iron Lad. We've got Peter Parker, Spider-Man. We have America Chavez. And who else is with them?
Doom. And Iron Lad.
Yeah.
Wait, would you say?
Tony Stark.
Yeah,
it's Iron Lad. Yeah, and Reed Richards as Doom are inside of the Maker's Dome. We've been waiting for literally 2 years for this, only to find out that the Maker's Dome, the Maker now is kind of part of the dome.
Yeah.
He has become part of it, and they ran into Howard Stark, Tony's father, but he is in this time Immortus, this kind of I don't even much different Immortus than the regular 616 Immortus.
Yep.
So this picks up right there where we actually hear Immortus's kind of recapping of what has happened in the dome this whole time. But Immortus has been in there a very long time. Like possibly millions of years. I think he says like 2 million years at some point. Oh, did he?
Because I know I thought it was at least 1,000 years, but yeah, probably way more.
Yeah, and part of it's a little confusing. One, because he's a little bit of an unreliable narrator because he is so time has gone on so long.
Yeah.
He's even said, I forgot why I'm fighting the Maker in the first place. I just know that I have to do this.
Yeah, they mentioned something about thinking fourth dimensionally, like screws up your brain or something like that.
And
that's why I don't do it.
yeah, yeah, I try to refrain from that. But even in the sequence that they tell, it shows like how many years have passed, and it's not linear. It jumps around, and he says something like, "This thing that took place 1,000 years in the future happened last week." And so it's very weird. He talks about time doesn't work normal in here.
Yeah, they said that like time doesn't follow, like time in 4 dimensions doesn't follow regular chronology and continuity or something. And at that point, my brain just short circuited.
Yeah, this is very like wibbly wobbly, timey wimey
Yeah.
Doctor Who type stuff where you just kind of have to ride the wave
Yeah.
instead of trying to really figure out like the linear events of things. But we do find out quite a bit of just the interactions that over this course of time Immortus has had with the Maker and how they've, clashed. And we learn about the Death's Head that we saw in the previous one, that this is a thing that Howard Stark has been building and reiterating over the course of all these years. And we do see, meanwhile, outside of the city, we have Killmonger and T'Challa, and this plays into kind of the end of the Ultimate Black Panther series, where T'Challa basically gives Killmonger like the order or the mission, like, I want you to go and stop the Maker. I need you to get into the dome and you be the one to stop him. So we know he's gonna be entering into this at some point, but it's a little bit of confusing of an issue. There's a certain machine that Immortus has that is very necessary for things to basically hold back the tide of the Maker, but the Maker has his own kind of army of people in there that we saw in the previous issue. But a lot of that's going to be disrupted now that our core team of heroes have entered into this. Some weird stuff happens with the time and maybe how it affects the outside now versus the inside. But the last page of this leaves off in a very interesting yet confusing place.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you a lot of context for where or when they are. And I really need the next issue to fully explain that. So this is, once again, we don't have a big fight in this between, the heroes and the villains of the Ultimate Universe. This is a lot of kind of explanation of what's been going on. And even that is not firm.
Yeah, I do feel like that the story didn't really get pushed forward all that much in this. And there's only 5 issues, so we only have 3 issues left. And
well, so the heroes don't really take a step in this one. They're kind of standing in the same place the entire issue.
Yeah, so it's like you've only got 3 issues left to tell this big grand story that's going to be the supposed end of this universe. So hopefully next issue will really start, speeding things up a little bit, just because they didn't make a lot of progress this time around.
You do kind of get a hint in this. I had to read it a second time, but there is a kind of a mission now that our heroes with Iron Lad and all of them have going forward. But it did take a second reading to pick up on that.
Okay.
There's some parts in the art I was like, oh, I now get what happened here. If you read it fast, you may miss some beats. But rereading it and really trying to understand it, I did get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, I mean, this is the biggest thing going on at Marvel right now. So if you're enjoying all the Ultimate stuff, you want to see how it winds up, don't miss Ultimate Endgame #2. There is your A cover. We also have this Tony Daniel variant.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. We've got this Mobley variant with Killmonger. And we've got this 1 in 10 Terry Dodson variant we're selling for $7.99. And we have this 1 in 50 Jonas Scharf variant we're selling for $24.99.
All right, well, let's jump over to Ignition Press. You guys know that we love Ignition Press. This is a book called Love Ignited. This is a one-shot. Up here in the corner, you can't see it. It says it's an annual, but there's not another series to go along with it, like how there's a Spider-Man series and then an annual. This is just a one shot, so think of it that way. It's a bit of a square bound book. And this has got 6 different stories in it. They're all little one and done anthology stories. They don't connect to each other. They're not connected to anything else. And there's a bunch of different creative teams on this. So, and all of these stories have a theme of love or relationships in them. This is coming out just a couple weeks before Valentine's Day, but some, not all, but some of these stories also have a bit of a horror flavor. And some of them, it's not even a bit of a horror flavor. It's a straight up horror story.
Yeah, it says weird tales of romance.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. They vary that weird to horror.
Yeah, some of them are just, that's weird, and some of them are like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So,
I know which one you're speaking
yeah,
of.
right. So we have a story called The Harpy and the Siren from Olivia Dufault and Danny, who is going to be your penciler on the upcoming Batwoman series. And this is about a harpy and a siren. They're in this this spot of water, and they have a contest to see how many sailors they can kill in the next year. And then what happens after that. There's a story called Home Sweet Home, which is written and drawn by Sugar May. It's about this housewife named Betty. She has a husband who travels a lot, so she's by herself a lot. But she has a new neighbor named Grace, who also has a husband who travels a lot. And let's just say they end up spending a lot of time together. Mm-hmm. There's a story called I Want to Know You from Rosa Ekedal. And it's about this driver who picks up this hitchhiker, this girl who's hitchhiking, but she is much more than she seems, so that's really cool. There's a really good one called Living in a Satellite Fantasy. This is from Jamie S. Rich and Belen Culebras, and it's about a girl named Paulina. She has this year-long shift up on a space station, so this is a little bit of a sci-fi story. And it's one of those stories where you're going to be on your own for a year, secluded in space while you maintain a satellite or something like that. But there is someone else there named Adrian, and they talk over a headset. They never meet physically, but they talk over a headset. And then at the end of that story, you find out the true circumstances around that situation.
That's when I think I liked all the stories to hear. That one, when I got to the ending, maybe was the hardest hitting one.
Yeah,
where I was like, oh, and you one of those you get the ending and then you rethink the whole thing.
That's
you
right.
Go, I now get this, and I thought that one was exceptionally.
Yeah, it was really good. The artwork in that one was really good too. There is a story called You Me Again from written and drawn by Chris Burnham.
This is definitely on the horror side.
Yeah. This one it's about a medical examiner who, while he's examining a dead body on the table in the morgue, he's thinking about all the things that he loves about his wife. Which it's not as creepy as it sounds. He's just like, oh, this, the clavicle of her neck reminds me of yours and that kind of thing. But it gets bizarre. And
where I don't exactly know what happens.
Yeah. I would actually love to see a series made out of that, because it was so, it was really out there. That one's probably my favorite. And then the Satellite Fantasy was probably narrowly my number 2. And then I don't know, this last one too, called Lover's Pact, written by Patrick Horvath.
Yeah.
And art by Morgan Beam. It's about this serial killer who tricks girls into kind of falling in love with him to the point that they agree to have a suicide pact. They agree to enter into a suicide pact with him, yet he doesn't ever go through with it, but they do. And he meets a new girl who he's going to do the same thing with, but she surprises him. We'll say that. So yeah, 6 stories of varying degrees of weirdness to straight up horror, but they all have the theme of love and relationships. It's, like I said, it's a one shot, one and done. Pick it up, read it, and then you're done. And so if you want just something interesting to read, then if you want something interesting to read, then yeah, check that out right there. It's really, really good. This is $7.99. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So there's your A cover. We have this Martin Morazzo variant from Ice Cream Man. And this is the 1 in 10 David Talaski cover. And we're selling that one for $11.99.
Well, next up I have Dork number 1. I really enjoyed this one. I've been looking forward to this one. So this is written by and drawn by Brett Bean, who is your artist on I Hate Fairyland. So you kind of get an idea of what you're in for. This is set in the lands of Sunderain, and it's your typical very fantasy setting. You actually start off with a map, and you see the map is kind of bisected through the middle by this like scar,
Yeah.
this black scar. On one side is kind of your light lands, and on the other side is the dark lands. And these are the two kingdoms, the light kingdom and the dark kingdom. And the place in between is called the Scar, a place of constant war that no one dwells there, but like a lot of wars happen right there between the two sides, except for one creature. That's where they live, and that is your character, the Dork, who is part light dwarf from the Light Kingdom and part dark orc from the dark side of the map. And what's so bad about this is he is kind of prophesied, or someone kind of born of both worlds is prophesied to bring an end to their world as they know it.
And both sides of the world know about this prophecy.
Yeah.
Like they're both fearful of this legend.
Yeah, so when he shows up and they kind of figure out what they're looking at, it's suddenly like, we got to take this guy out before he can, fulfill this thing. But we're kind of thrust right in. We don't know a whole lot about him, or we don't see his parents and everything. He's got a shield that has an eyeball on it that talks, and is really fun, very a la barbaric.
Yep.
With Owen and his talking axe. Very similar to, like, this shield definitely wants to see some action. He always wants to pull our protagonist into the fight. And Dork is not his name. I don't think we get his name.
We don't, but yeah, they when they're referring to the prophecy, they say something about it's the dork or something, and he's like, that's not my name, but it's one of those things where, well, it just sticks and you're stuck with it now.
But we do see kind of the two kingdoms, now that they know that he's out there, both decide to start going for him, to try to eliminate him. We get a fun sequence of the dork like hiding in trees, and he runs across this like kind of troll campfire where they're eating a unicorn.
Yeah.
But it's all very like cartoony, very much like I Hate Fairyland.
Yep.
And it's just fun. There's a great action, very over the top action.
It's very colorful.
Very colorful, fun character designs. Oh, and there's a chicken. And the chicken is one of the best parts of this.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into too much detail, but the dork does go to a tavern where this chicken wears a little vest, and he's kind of I guess he's the bartender there, the owner.
Yeah.
But something happens to him, and we'll leave it at that.
Right.
But I hope he stays around as a reoccurring character. But it builds this fun cast of characters, and this is definitely a setup issue.
Yeah.
Introducing you to the world, but I do really want to see whatever quest or whatever that our main character is going to go on, because I think this is delightful. I don't think there's enough this kind of fantasy stories in comics right now. This high fantasy with orcs and dwarves and trolls and unicorns and all smattering of things in between.
One thing I was surprised to learn, and I was pleased to learn too, is that Dork here, like, he's no stranger to adventure, and it seems like he can handle himself.
Yeah.
He's not like a fighter, but it's not like, Frodo going off, to drop the ring in the lava, and he doesn't really know how to take care of himself. Like, Dork, if when push comes to shove, Dork, he can sort of handle himself.
You don't have that like trope of, oh, but he's little and he doesn't know what to do.
Exactly.
It's like, no. Yeah. For when you first see him, like, he kind of looks menacing. Like, he's in a tree and you only see his eyes glowing, and he takes care of business with the shield pretty well.
I mean, he's a very friendly character until it comes time to handle business.
Yeah. But I love this. I am so excited for this to continue. I hope this continues a lot. I Hate Fairyland. Like, go on for volumes and volumes, because this is just a world that's just fun to hang out in.
Yeah, a lot of the possibilities are endless for this world with the two different sides and the characters they could put in here. All kinds of possibilities here. Yeah, this I hope this runs a long time.
Yeah, so if you like fun books, high fantasy, with a great sense of humor. Yeah. I said it feels similar. I Hate Fairyland and Skull Kickers. It has that kind of feel. So highly recommend it. I actually got the 1 in 25 for this, the Ryan Otley cover, and I'm so glad I did. So we've got our A cover here, which is what your interior looks like. We also have a Jason Howard cover, which is really fun. And we have a blank sketch cover, which I was drawing my own dork
His own
earlier.
dork.
So I could just transfer this on here. There
go.
we go. There's a sketch cover.
All right, let's jump over to Marvel and talk about Magik and Colossus #1. This is part of Shadows of Tomorrow. I believe this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. This is written by Ashley Allen. The art is by German Peralta. And in this book, Magik tracks down Colossus, who's basically been wandering from town to town in Russia ever since the fall of Krakoa. And if you think about it, we haven't seen Colossus much at all in since the last time it's been a year or more, I guess, since Krakoa fell, and we barely.
He wasn't even there much then.
Yeah, so Colossus has been MIA for a long time, and so she finds him, sort of traveling between towns, and she convinces him to go back to the town that they grew up in Russia. And after much convincing, he does agree. But when they get back to their town, they find that there are some ancient monsters from Russian folklore who are kind of terrorizing the town a little bit. So, of course, they take it upon themselves to try to defeat that evil, which leads to some good action scenes between Magik and Colossus, and then these like supernatural monsters, which is cool because the X-Men have a history of taking on supernatural threats and things like that. But it seems like that maybe the monsters aren't acting on their own. Maybe there's some mysterious figure at play with ulterior motives and that kind of thing. So that's what this series they're probably gonna find out who that is, and have to deal with them as well. But yeah, I'm a huge Colossus fan, and the fact that we haven't seen Colossus in a long time has been a big bummer. So I'm glad to have him front and center in this. Plus, I've come to really, really like Magik a lot over the last couple of years as well. So yeah, to have them together, it's really, really fun, and that's about it. So there's your A cover right here. We got a couple nice variants, including this Villalobos variant, this really awesome Scotty Young variant. This is the Simone DeMeo variant. And then I really like this one. This is the 1 in 25 Jacopo variant that we're selling for $14.99.
Well, next up, staying with Marvel, but kind of shifting gears a little bit, this is Planet of the Apes versus Fantastic Four #1. This is by Josh Trujillo, and Andrea DeVito does the art. And this is, not in continuity. This is kind of like honestly, if Planet of the Apes wasn't already a thing, this feels like a story that the Fantastic Four could find themselves in at any point, going up against weird other characters. So the structure of this is really fun because it actually begins right in the middle of the story, and we see the Fantastic Four all kind of disheveled, standing in a line. They're bound, and they don't have their powers, and that's kind of obvious because Ben Grimm looks like a man.
Yeah.
Johnny Storm's not on fire, and they're in front of a council of apes, and basically the apes are calling for execute them. These are. Of course, in the Planet of the Apes world, like the humans they believe they can't talk. They're these wild things, and they think these guys up here must be some weird experiment or something.
And should we say too, this is like classic Planet of the Apes.
This is this isn't like your more recent ones. Like, these are your like OG Planet of the Apes, especially in looks and design and everything. And of course, like Reed is gonna try to explain exactly what's going on. Johnny steps in and goes, I got this, and definitely doesn't make it any better. But we do get kind of a flashback to how we got to this point, and it does one thing I really wanted it to do, and used a villain that I thought was very perfect for
I was so happy.
I don't want to give it away, but it's pretty obvious.
If you think about a classic Fantastic Four villain who could fit in this story, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I love that, but because of that interaction, that fight they had, and explosion, the Fantastic Four got thrown to the Planet of the Apes Earth, and they just found themselves there without powers. Like something happened, something in that explosion messed things up. But now they're gonna have to try to get out of this situation they're currently in. But right before things get too dire, something happens at that council meeting, that hearing, that I was very excited because it's what I was hoping for this entire time, and now I'm very interested in seeing what's happening next. But you do see Doom up here, And I think that is also going to play a key part coming forward because we do see a little bit of Doom in this and maybe what his plan is. This is really fun. This is very non-continuity heavy.
Yeah.
This is a Saturday morning cartoon crossover. So if you're not reading current Fantastic Four, don't worry about it. You can jump right in. If you like Planet of the Apes, it's no problem. Everything's explained to you.
And I gotta say, the artwork in this is awesome.
Yeah,
I
it is.
loved the. Who's the artist on this?
Andrew DeVito.
Yeah, I love the artwork in this. Like, and that just helps the story. Plus, it's just fun. So, yeah, you have those two things together. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, this, like I said, this could feel like a classic Fantastic Four story where they end up on a planet full of apes.
Yeah.
So I think that's what definitely lends Fantastic Four to this more than I think like the Avengers or something, because they've found themselves in this kind of situation plenty of times.
Yeah, if any Marvel property feels at home crossing over the Planet of the Apes, it's Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really cool.
I mean, we've had a deluge of some of the best Fantastic Four stuff in the past year, and it is continuing here. So we've got our A cover here by Greg Land. We've got a Mobley variant. Thor is not in this.
Right.
You know, maybe if this book gets a sequel or something.
Or we could say, I don't know, he might pop up.
I wouldn't mind seeing some sequel where like the Planet of the Apes come to the 616 universe. We also have this really nice Peralta variant, kind of an homage. I want to see Giant Galactus ape. I think that would be great. And then we also have a Phil Noto classic like movie poster homage cover.
All right, so I'm going to go back to the X-Men and talk more about the Shadows of Tomorrow era, because this is Storm. Wait, I didn't write the full title down. This is a Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant #1. Now, I think this is supposed to be an ongoing series, and this is from Marewa Odell, who was the writer of the previous run, and the art is by Federico Mancini. And there are a lot of really interesting things that happen in here, but I didn't understand any of it. So because I didn't finish all of the previous run, I just read the first few issues, and this issue has a lot of big concepts in it that I think were part of the previous run. So this probably is not a good jumping on point for Storm. If you want to jump on the Storm, I would say read the previous run first. However, it's not that long. I think it was maybe 10 issues or maybe a little bit more before it went into Age of Revelation. So read that, then read this, because I was really lost during this. So part of this issue takes place on Rage, the rogue planet, who is cousin to Ego, the living planet. And if you guys know who this is, tell me in the comments, but I didn't know, so I just refer to him as a guy with no arms. Challenges Storm to a duel, and he makes it to where she can't refuse. He does something, and he's like, well, if you don't kill me, then this bad thing's going to happen, so you have to fight me. So that's part of the issue. But what seems like is happening at the same time on Earth, there are these gigantic robot-like creatures who are attacking this town in France, and Storm is there too, but she's in her like costume from the first run, but in the other story in this, she's in this costume. And I went back and looked, and there's nothing that says like before and now. Like there's nothing like that. So it makes it seems like it happened at the same time. And so Storm has to kind of deal with these big robot, but they're not just like regular like Sentinel robots. They're these weird looking things. So I did not understand how she could be doing both at the same time. But there is also something very interesting and very gruesome that happens involving a cell phone and the Scarlet Witch that I think will be continued into next issue. And there is something very interesting at the end of the book that I want to see. It's a little bit heartbreaking. I just wish I understood that whole sequence a little bit better. So I'm sorry to not be able to not be able to be more informative than that. I just didn't get it. The artwork's great, and there is some cool action in this. Like I said, there's a crazy moment, there's a heartbreaking moment, but I just didn't understand how it all related to each other. I was completely lost. But if you read the previous run and you really liked it, definitely check this out, because this is continuing that status quo for Storm. It's the same writer, has the same look and feel to it. So yeah, if you read the previous run, definitely check this one out, and I think you'll like it. So there's your A cover right there, and we've got some nice covers or variant covers. This is the is that yeah, that's Villa Lobos. Yep. This is the Daikruan cover right there.
Surprised that one wasn't foil. That feels like that could have been a great foil.
Yeah, great spot foil. And then we have this 1 in 25 Elizabeth Torque variant that we're selling for $24.99. I'm trying to get that focused.
Next up, heading back over to DC, we have DC X AEW #1. This is by Steve Orlando and the art is by Travis Mercer. This one was a little hard for me because I am not as familiar with the AEW roster. I know more WWE. Congratulations to Liv Morgan and OTC, your original tribal chief.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Acknowledge your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Congratulations at the Royal Rumble a couple of days ago. So this is with AEW, and what is really fun in this is it also involves Wham, which is the same organization that we just read about in
the DC, the Green Lantern Galactic Slam. Yeah, the wrestling across the multiverse, I think.
Which is sad that they didn't include Omega Man in this. Which I mean, he should have been that crossover glue between them. But it is cool that like we have in continuity this intergalactic wrestling federation that goes that's just throughout all these different DC books from Flash to Green Lantern, now this. But in this version, it seems like AEW, like everyone knows about it. The roster of wrestlers are almost like superheroes themselves. They don't have powers, but like they show up and they're kind of a team and stuff. And there was a big, like, this jumps right into it, like, almost so much that they have to kind of recap you on something you haven't seen. But the winner of the big galactic belt, Starshame, destroyed it instead of handing it over. So, or Starshame, someone won it, and then Starshame had it before and didn't want to hand the belt over. So instead, she shattered it. And those pieces, much like the Dragon Ball, scattered to the far corners of the universe.
Which is a big deal because it's made out of Element X, which can reshape reality with just a thought.
Yeah, because they even talked to, is it Hot Girl that explains it?
Yeah, because they thought it would maybe be nth metal, and she's like, no,
this is the like building blocks of creation.
Right.
And so that's how they know it's really important. But you have the Justice League that are brought in to kind of investigate and try to figure out where this went. But upon them getting there, also the AEW wrestlers are there as well. And they're like, well, this is our kind of turf also. So if you're going to be investigating this, we are too. And then you get through most of the rest of the book that is like 2 to 3 page vignettes of the different wrestlers and members of the Justice League teamed up, facing off against a villain or someone who found this piece and kind of what they were intending to do with it.
Yeah, you get like Nightwing and Will Ospreay going up against the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
So I don't know who Will Ospreay is, but you know, AEW fans, he's in this, so that's awesome.
It's fun because what's his name? Johnny Sorrow is in it, which we haven't seen him in a long time. The like floating red mask that has like smoke coming out.
Oh yeah.
That's a character we haven't seen in a long time. Aquaman has a cool like finding a piece underwater with another wrestler. But this is going to be a 2-issue miniseries, and it definitely leaves like there's a twist ending that's like, oh, this is what they're gonna have to deal with. It's really fun. It's definitely geared towards if you know your AEW wrestlers and you know their personalities, you know all that. This definitely, you know, I would suggest it for those. If you like the Justice League and like to see them teamed up with people maybe you don't know, sure, this works too. But
the artwork's really good. You know, a lot of good action.
I mean, this is a mostly action book.
It has nothing to do with DCKO, you know, because it does seem a little bit like, hey, there's a tournament and whatever. No, this is completely on its own.
Yeah, and this isn't the heroes like fighting the AEW wrestlers. This is them more teamed up on little missions and stuff throughout space and everything. But it's really fun. It's very simple in kind of its story structure, but with all of these characters and everything, it definitely works well that way, where it's not really loaded down with a lot of exposition. So we have our A cover here, which is a wraparound cover. We also have this one, which is the one I pre-ordered,
Yeah.
the Daniel Warren Johnson cover, which I mean, you wouldn't be wrong if you thought that this was a DCKO cover
Right, yeah.
going along with all his
Yeah.
other ones.
That's why I want to make it clear, because there's some DCKO variants that look just like that.
Yeah.
But no, this is its own separate
Its own
two-issue
thing.
deal, and that's it. Yeah.
Then we also have this really nice Edwin Gallman cover. I love that one. We have a logo variant. And we also have a blank sketch cover.
And a while back, DC and AEW sent me a big box. See there, that kind of looks like the belt that's in there right there. And it's got like it's got some cool stuff, like a neat what do you call these types of hats?
Like a kind of a bucket hat?
Yeah, bucket hat. And it's got a t-shirt which looks really cool. So that's nice. And then they sent this special, I don't know, it's like the A cover, and they sent in this nice plastic thing too. It's like a version of that, I guess. So yeah, that's really cool.
A different color background.
Yeah, so they sent that to me a while back, so I just thought it'd be cool to show, while we're going to be talking about this.
I need to watch some AEW. All I know is acknowledge your tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
I don't know what that is.
Miedo.
Okay, so let's talk about Godzilla Infinity Roar #1. This is written by Jerry Duggan, the artist by Javier Guerron and Iguara. And this is continuing the story of the Godzilla Versus books, which then led into the Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. And then now we have, because at the end of that series, to deal with Godzilla, they just shot him off into space and said, not my problem anymore. Well, now he is. That's really, really bad. So now a symbiote powered Godzilla is he's not just mindlessly floating through space. He's actually he's not being controlled by Null, because they do make a point to say nothing can control Godzilla, but he is being confined in like a big globe, kind of like how Null was kept in prison by the symbiotes all that time. So it's like Null is like aiming Godzilla at these different planets a little bit. And we see at the beginning Godzilla attacking the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, and they're trying to evacuate the planet. And there is this awesome 2-page sequence with Black Bolt face to face with Godzilla, trying to use the power of his voice to stop Godzilla. And the way it's the artwork in that is really cool. It made me think of something you would see Daniel Warren Johnson draw with cool. The sound effects, the big sound effects and everything. I'll have to show you after this. Like, it's the way that his voice power, it's not just like waves of power. It's something different, and it looks awesome. And when I saw him, like, it's funny because like all the Wakandans are running backwards, and you have Black Bolt just sort of walking up to Godzilla.
I love Black Bolt, especially I even like when he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, when he, he's one of those. He's very Aquaman-like, where it's like, he's you don't want to mess with him. He seems kind of docile, but when he decides to step up.
Yeah, so that was cool. We also get part of the issue is the Guardians of the Galaxy trying to stop Null, who, like I said, is kind of aiming Godzilla at all these places. We have the Fantastic Four reaching out to a very powerful being to help stop Godzilla as well. So there's a bunch of little things in here. We also have the Avengers, right? Captain America and Spider-Man's in there, and I don't remember who all's with them, but they are trying to rally up some help as well. So this is going to be more of a cosmic level story, but it still has a lot of the Earthbound heroes in it. It was pretty fun. I mean, if you've been reading the Godzilla series of books, this continues on that story. I had a good time with it. So that's your A cover right there. And we have this really cool Casanova's variant. We have this Ryan Stegman variant. I mean, a null-powered Godzilla, it's just unfair, really. Yeah. And this really nice David Marquez spot foil variant. We're selling this one. This is not an incentive, but we are selling this one for $11.99. Silver Surfer's not in this one, but he may pop up at some point.
when you least expect
Right.
it.
He's always there, lurking.
Well, next up, I have a brand new book from Ignition Press. This is Ripcord #1. This is written by Cullen Bunn, and the art is by Aneke. And this is really interesting. So the ash can of this came out a few weeks ago, and I read that, and I really liked it. Um, I'll say you could read this book in the duration of a sneeze. Like
It was very quick.
it is a very
Yeah.
quick read, and like what is after that ash can is not a whole lot other than action. So I already felt like I read half of this book a while ago, but not to say this isn't really cool and really interesting. So um, it's set in Australia, and Dylan Cade is a woman who is looking for her sister. That's all we kind of know. I remember the solicitation talks a little bit more about what's going on, but if you're just talking about what's kind of revealed in this issue, we just know she's looking for her sister, and she stops by a rest stop, a kind of a gas station out in the middle of nowhere. The guy there seems okay. We do learn pretty soon he's kind of a creep,
Yeah.
but she shows him the pictures like, have you seen this woman? He's like, nope, I would remember a pretty thing like you or whatever. But he kind of gives up his attempt at wooing her or whatever. But um pretty soon a biker gang shows up and starts kind of making trouble. She manages to get away from him, but not until she's camping out somewhere else and they show back up. That's the pretty much the equivalent of the entire book. Now, there is some other stuff going on here, like the rest stop owner does mention it's not safe out there for a girl with all those ripcord heads
Yeah.
out and about. Now, we don't know initially, is that the biker gang or is this something else? We also see as Dylan is camping, she does have a dream of like her and her sister, and we get a little backstory just through the art of maybe, Dylan can handle herself out
Mhm.
here. But I'll say the 50% of this book is action, and it is
Yeah.
very over the top,
Yeah.
like brutal action. Um, and we still have a lot of questions. They don't even explain what ripcord is. It's just kind of warned about. We don't know. I know from the solicitation, like kind of the idea about her missing sister, but in this they don't explain anything
Right.
about, why she's on Australia looking for her missing sister. When's the last time she saw her? Any of that. Um, but it is the environment in it is really cool. It's got a really cool tone to it. It's Cullen Bunn, who is a master at this kind of storytelling. So I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next issue. I want to get into some of this because there's a lot of questions. But for this first issue, it's just a cool story.
Yeah.
With some kick butt action. There is some wolves in it,
Mhm.
but not a lot of explanation, and that's okay.
Yeah.
This is almost like a pre-title sequence
Right.
sequence. Where after this it's really gonna kick in. But I thought it was really cool. Not a whole lot more to say about it other than that. We've got our A cover here. And we have this variant cover by I guess, did you say Aneke? Aneke?
Yeah. Aneke, I guess.
Aneke. That is what your interior art looks like. So that's your B cover.
All right. Well, next up we've got Absolute Superman #16, and this one features Absolute Hawkman. So Hawkman approaches Superman to give him advice about how to be a hero because Hawkman says that he's been doing this for about 80 years while Superman is still a rookie. And Hawkman insists that he's a good guy, but he has done some questionable things, and we've seen some of those things in the Absolute Evil one shot.
Yeah.
I thought he was a straight up bad guy when they first in that issue.
Or
I was
he was
like,
being controlled.
yeah, or something.
something.
But he seems to be in control of everything, and he seems to be, I guess, more on the level of an. I don't even know. I don't know.
I feel like
Maybe
he's
an
a
anti-hero,
character
but-
who has tried to do good for a long time, and he's kind of come to the fact of like, I can't do a whole lot. It's easier just to kind of go with the flow and whoever's in charge
Yeah,
to survive rather than really trying to do good.
yeah. So a lot of the issue is a conversation between them, but not just like sitting at a table. Like they're flying through the city, and Hawkman's like, "You're a kid. You're a rookie. You don't know what I've seen." That kind of thing, right?
He also is telling him like, you're not the first hero
Yeah.
that's been here.
Yeah.
You're not even the first one that can fly.
Yep.
And he does name some names, some recognizable names that I thought were pretty
Well,
interesting.
and some names that we saw their fate in the Absolute Evil one shot as well.
Yeah.
So they're discussing things, and Superman's kind of not having it. But then Hawkman gets tired of Superman's lip, I guess, and they do fight for a little bit before directing their attention towards a larger threat that we'll see next issue. And in this, there's also more with at the end of last issue, we saw Brainiac kind of going out on his own,
Yeah.
and we saw him heading towards Lex Luthor's house, and we get more of that, and we get like the next sort of phase of that story in this as well, which is really
It's
interesting.
a pretty radically different Lex Luthor.
Yep. So big story that's being built up in here,
and a lot of this issue too is Hawkman's origin. We see
that's right,
how he
yeah.
gets his powers, and we
Mhm.
see, and it's fun because he is a character from like he's very Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I thought this was actually a really nice way of bridging the two continuities of, is he Thanagarian or is he an archaeologist? They kind of mesh those in here in
Yeah.
a really cool way.
and it does make sense. It's not contrived. It's definitely
But like Thanagar is mentioned in this,
Yeah.
and stuff. But that sequence is cool also because it's set like in the 40s. But you do see the peacemakers of that time, but they're
Right.
like old timey peacemakers.
Yeah, they still have the metal helmets, but they're like 1940s.
Yeah,
gear.
I thought that was really cool. The art in this is great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this issue, and I want more of this Hawkman because he's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting and definitely feels like maybe a broken hero.
Yeah, there's definitely layers to him. He's not a straight up bad guy, but he's not a very noble good guy either. He's
cynical.
Yeah, he's cynical. Yeah, he's interesting. So there is your A cover right there. We kind of sort of get that in this issue. And we also have this really nice Gerald Perel cover.
Well, next up, I have a really fun one. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this. This is Archie X Army of Darkness. So Archie is crossed over with everyone from the Predator, the Punisher,
Yeah.
and more. This is our latest crossover. This is by Eric Burnham and Bill Galvin. What's funny about this is, much like Afterlife with Archie and all of that, it goes from being like a very traditional looking Archie book to some pretty brutal stuff happens. So I would say, this is a teen plus.
Yeah. Dude, I love Afterlife with Archie. It's so
good,
Yeah.
and that it never went any further.
I know.
Is the saddest thing
Jeez.
ever. But most of this book does look like your traditional Archie book. So it's colorful, it's very flat colors, bright. And in this, Reggie's family has bought a house, a cabin, by a lake. And it came fully furnished and stuff. Now this cabin, if you've seen some Evil Dead, you might get an idea of where this is. But he's throwing a party, and Archie is kind of jealous. He's kind of jealous that Reggie has this, and Betty and Veronica are like, "Oh no, it's super cool. He's got this cabin," and so Archie's a little jealous. But he accidentally trips on a rug and hits something, and a secret passageway opens up. So him and Jughead and Betty and Veronica and all of them go in, and what do you know is sitting there but the Necronomicon, and Archie, being kind of a dunderhead, I was like, what are all these notes? What does this mean? And he reads out some of it. And of course, that starts a lot of craziness. Now, that part's really fun. There's some deadites, there's some of all that. But what I thought was interesting, the book jumps back a month before this. And we see that Betty and Veronica really want I guess it's like a limited edition or a special, like really rare plush dog. And they're like, "Oh, Archie, will you get us each one?" And Archie's like, "I don't have the money for this, so I need to go get a new job." Well, where does he get a job but S-Mart? Shop smart, shop S-Mart. And he gets some training from his new boss, Ash.
Nice.
And that's kind of what you go, oh, now I see how these two are going to pull together. But it is a really fun kickoff issue. You don't get a lot of Ash in this. Now, Ash does explain his backstory. He's like, I bet you're wondering why I have a metal hand. I got it in the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I got sucked through a port. Like, he goes through the whole thing. Archie's like, okay. But this is really fun. It's definitely a setup issue. You don't see a whole lot of, like, them being able to fight back against the Deadites. But I thought it was great. I thought the sense of humor was spot on, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one. So Archie X, The Army of Darkness, #1. We got this. This is a hack A cover. We also have a this is the Galvin variant, so that's your interior artist. We've got some incentives as well. So we have a 1 in 10 black and white Galvin cover selling for $9.99. We've got a 1 in 15 Cermak cover selling for $14.99. And we have a virgin black and white cover of that Galvin one that is a 1 in 20. We're selling for $19.99.
All right. Next up is Uncanny X-Men number 23. We are back from Age of Krakoa, and I've enjoyed this series ever since it came back. There's pretty much 2 stories in this.
Yeah.
One is fun, and one is pretty serious. In the fun story, I don't remember his name, but it's the guy who owns Haven House.
Yeah.
That they're staying in. He is reading a story to, I don't remember if it's his daughter or granddaughter, and I don't remember her name either. But he's reading her a bedtime story, and it's a Western that he's reading her, and we actually get to see the story he's telling, like almost as if we're reading a Western comic, right? We're seeing that story.
Well, it's a Marvel Western.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a classic Marvel book.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Now I think it's a new story, but the
characters
with the characters and the title of the book are a classic Marvel book.
Well, what's the kid's name? Outriders.
Outliers.
Outliers. Yeah, the 4 new kids that have been, the main focus of this book. They are all outside the bedroom door listening to this, and they get really into it. And the dad says, he knows they're out there. He's like, "Do you guys want to come in and just listen?" So they all just sort of wind up in the bedroom together listening to this story. So that whole scene, and it goes back and forth.
It's really like sweet and quaint because they're like, "Oh, it's some kiddie story or whatever."
Yeah.
But then they're like, "Yeah, but what's gonna happen next?" They keep kind of like leaning
it's
more and more into it.
It's very Princess Bride, where Fred Savage's character is like, well, you can read one more page, that kind of thing. So while that's going on, outside the house,
very different.
You have Rogue and Wolverine and Nightcrawler and Jubilee confronting Gambit about the left eye of Agamotto that he possesses, that he got from the dragon in, I think, the very first issue of the series.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a long time
ago. And they say, you need to give that back because it's starting to corrupt you. You are starting to crave flesh, which is horrifying.
And when you see how they're like, open your coat.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on with Gambit?
So it's kind of starting to possess him a little bit.
And it's they even mentioned, are you going to start calling it my precious? It is very ring-coated.
Yeah. So they want him to give it back to the dragon he took it from, but he doesn't really want to, which causes them to start, it causes Gambit to start fighting the other X-Men. But there's someone else waiting in the wings, which I thought was really cool, and I don't know why they're all there and why they're all together, but we'll maybe probably get more of that next issue.
That was surprising, and then when you get to the end and go, oh, and there's something going on there too, right. I was like, oh no, this is bad. Yeah. So it's actually really cool. I mean, you have a little bit of a sweet story. There's some good action with the X-Men fighting Gambit, which I normally don't love heroes versus heroes, especially in Marvel, but it does make sense. It's not just a misunderstanding. It's a legitimate he's getting corrupted.
There's some good artwork in this. Some good action. So I've been having a good time. I'm gonna keep checking it out.
And I like Rogue. How kind of brokenhearted she is, that she's like, I never wanted to have to fight you like this, and that's all really interesting.
This is our A cover. I believe we have maybe another variant and an incentive variant that I forgot to bring. So check the website to see what variants we have. But that is the A cover.
Well, next up we got another Absolute book. It's Absolute Green Lantern number 11. There's also a lot going on in this book. So there's the stuff going on with Hal and. Possibly he's lost the Black Hand powers. We see a lot there, but a big part of this is Hector Hammond has found a way to control Obsidian, who we saw at the end of, I think, the previous issue, which is a classic I guess a JSA
Yeah,
character,
like new generation
but
JSA.
the son of Alan
Yeah.
Scott, so it does kind of work in that way, and he thinks if he uses Obsidian, he can find Hal. Because if he finds Hal, he finds Joe Mullen, and if he finds Joe Mullen, he can find the Green Lantern. So Hector Hammond is after the Green Lantern, um, but the kind of our group of heroes characters, we have Kari, who is one of the like secret agents, but now has kind of gone rogue with Hal and Joe and all of them, and she has like the psychokinetic power. What she can touch something and kind of get a reading off of it. And Joe's like, then touch the ring. What does this tell you? And that's interesting because that is where we start getting some. It's not quite a Marvel timeless thing where you get a.
Oh yeah.
You do get some vignettes of
Okay.
things that don't have full explanations but are very interesting, including one very interesting one that I want to see more of. Plus, suddenly we jump to wherever John Stewart is,
Hmm.
because he's now this like other dimensional being, and so is Guy Gardner, and they have a very interesting discussion as well. So, this is a very heady book. Um, I feel like I need to go all the way back to issue 1 and read this all the way through periodically just to kind of keep it fresh because there's a lot going on here. But I thought this was another fun issue. Tomar Ray on the cover, and you might figure out why once you read it, but that is your A cover. We also have a Dennis Cowan variant. We have a Chuma Hill variant. And we have a Gillum March variant.
All right, next up we've got Ultimate Wolverine number 14. There's 2 more issues, I believe, after this one, or maybe not. I don't know. Number 14 is this one. In this one, Wolverine and Phoenix and Sentinel-1 are continuing their search for Illyana Rasputin, because don't forget, in this universe, she's bad. And they don't find her, but they do find the ultimate version of a well-known Wolverine villain, and that leads to a really cool fight. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's action-packed, great artwork, but yeah, and it just kind of ties in a little bit to Ultimate Endgame because Illyana is one of the Maker's Council, and they're trying to take her down like they took down a couple of other of his council. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. But just wanted to let you know that 14 is out this week, and that's the only cover that we have.
Well, speaking of Wolverine, we have Wolverine issue 15. And this one's fun. I really like these since kind of post Age of Revelation jump back onto Wolverine. This is only our second issue,
Yeah.
but it's been very accessible, which I really enjoy. We have Mike Henderson on art for this one, which I thought was awesome because he's the artist on Nailbiter, and I love Nailbiter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the art was great. I really like this issue. I'll just go ahead and put it out there.
And it's not a very complicated story in this. So Wolverine and Silver Sable are training the new Morlocks, which is the town they kind of wound up in. You see what these new Morlocks, their different powers are. It's not fully explained. I've got a lot of questions about like what.
Yeah.
There's one that can like make like astral projections of another mutant, but also copy their powers. And I wasn't sure how far that goes. There's one that kind of can eat anything, and I'm not, there. But you see, like they've got interesting stuff going on, and that's going really well. You get a really nice moment in here between Wolverine and Silver Sable as they kind of like go and have a drink together, and
things maybe starting to heat up a little bit.
Starting to heat up, comparing notes, that kind of thing. But of course, it's a Wolverine book. It's an X-Men book. It's not long before the government agency, I guess it's Department H.
Department H, yeah.
Shows up, led by Inspector Meta, who is the kind of the leader of this group, and she's got something to fight him with this time. She has her own version of the Alpha Flight, which includes some classic members and some not. I don't know why, like, Puck is on the team. I feel like Puck wouldn't be too into working for her, but there is a new member that's kind of the lead of it that it seems to be a big challenge coming up. So this was really fun. This is very simple. It's, Wolverine in the snow, helping some mutants with
Yep.
their powers, and I love even that Silver Sable's like, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
You're really good at training, the new mutants and stuff. And I just like that because I feel like so often we don't get a lot of acknowledgement of a character's, long history. And in this, it's like, well, yeah, because he like ran the Xavier school for a while,
Mhm.
and he's done this for so long. It's nice to be like, yeah, he is capable.
Yeah.
He's not new to any of this. So, really fun issue. We've got our A cover here, the Dan Panosian cover, which have been fantastic. We also have a Jeff Shaw variant, and they're kind of doing a Black Panther month, I think, with a bunch of different books. They're gonna have Black Panther on them.
All right, I've got Avengers number 35, and this is the next to last issue of this whole run. And like we talked about earlier, I think it was last week, I don't think we're going to see anything more of the Avengers until after the Armageddon event is over. So, enjoy it while it lasts for now. But in this one, the Grail, which has sort of been the MacGuffin of this final story arc, it's been activated and it's threatening to create a whole new universe, which will result in the destruction of the current universe. So the Avengers and the Twilight Court, they sort of work together to figure out how to stop that. And it's really cool because they divide up into groups based on their specialties. So you have like the tech guys, made up of Avengers and Twilight Court. All the tech guys get together, the powerhouses get together, and everybody sort of has their role to play in this. And yeah, they do come up with a plan with they come up with a way to stop this thing. But things do not go as planned. Big shocker because we have one issue left, right? So yeah, I just wanted to let you know that the next slash issue of Avengers is out. If you've been getting it, don't miss this one because the next one is the last one. So there's our A cover from Russell Dauterman, and I love this David Nakayama Red Hulk cover. Red Hulk is not in this, but it's a cool cover nonetheless.
Well, and I've got Amazing Spider-Man number 21. Now, this is the issue before Death Spiral starts.
No, so number 22 comes next, and that is the issue where Peter comes back to Earth, and that's the issue that's going to wrap up the Earth, the space thing, and the Norman Osborn thing, and then Death
It'll do
Spiral.
some of that, but we know Peter's back. I don't think we're gonna see him come back unless they really spotlight that. But
Well, because issue, I believe, yeah, 22 is the end of this whole thing, and then Death Spiral, and then 23 is part two, I believe.
okay.
I think.
Well, you read this one, and
Okay.
then we'll talk about it. But this does feel like the end of this story. So most of this is the spiders, the spider team, fighting against the Goblin Slayers. This is a very like Norman Osborn focused issue, and it does. Norman does go through a lot of
Yeah, number 22, the era of Space Earth Spider-Man comes to an end. We're about to enter Death Spiral, and then number 23 is Death Spiral part. Well, I don't know.
I think it was part 2.
Yeah, I think so. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. That makes it really interesting maybe what the next issue is going to be because
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. But this has a lot of Norman Osborn in it. He's fighting against the Hobgoblin. He's fighting the Goblin Slayers. I didn't love this issue. I didn't love, especially the last little bit of it. Norman just acts a little weird and not in the Norman way, just in a like, uh, I don't know. He gets really emotional and stuff, and I don't necessarily buy it
Yeah,
for a character
it's
that's
just-
literally been so evil for so long.
Which is the whole. I just can't get over it. I mean, he killed Gwen Stacy, and he's like Peter's best friend. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, so I'm glad this. I really like the space stuff. I didn't love the Norman Osborn stuff
No, I
as
didn't.
much. I did like. So the art in this is by John Romita Jr. and Todd Knock, and I think some of the pages may be Todd Knock working off John Romita's either pencils or layouts because there's kind of a meshing of the two in some of the places. But I thought that stuff was the Todd Knock stuff was really strong and a lot of good action. But yeah, I was just kind of ready for this story to be over, and I am looking forward to Death Spiral. So I was kind of like, okay, yeah, we have to wrap this up. Let's move on. But yeah, so we've got our kind of last issue in this story arc proper here. I feel like, yeah, the next one might be kind of a glue story, crossing the two over. So there's your A cover by John Romita Jr. We've got this Rude variant. Very classic, especially those webs.
Yeah.
That's the pre-McFarlane way of drawing webs. We've got this really nice David Nakayama red variant. The one everybody's going to be wanting.
Yep.
This is the Libra Mayho Amazing Visions variant.
That's the one I pre-ordered. Yep.
You know, homaging one of the best Spider-Man comics of all time that doesn't even really feature Spider-Man that much. And we have a 1 in 50 David Nakayama Virgin variant of that one cover. We're selling for $24.99.
Well, real quick, just wanted to tell you that also out this week is Superman Chains of Love. This is a one-shot that is kind of, it's another sort of a holiday, Valentine's Day themed, relationship themed book. But it's not an anthology book like a lot of them are. This actually tells a story, but this only came in today, so we didn't get a chance to read it. We were shorted a box last week. And that box contained this, so it just came in today. So we didn't have otherwise we would have talked about it way earlier in the show.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to let you know that it is out this week though. So that is your A cover there, and then we've got a nice cover. Yes, is it Mirka Andolfo?
Oh, Mirka Andolfo, wow.
And I love this one.
Awesome.
That's from Juan Ferreira. Juan Ferreira. He's got another one of his like 16-bit video game variants. And this story, if I remember correctly from the solicitation, it basically features the Creeper and Livewire kind of getting in a relationship, and then something happens there. So wish we could tell you more about it, but unfortunately we just didn't have time to read it today.
And I've also got TMNT Battle Nexus number 4. I just want to talk about this because I've enjoyed this series so much. This one is written by Caleb Goldner, and the art is by Omar Francis. And this issue features a ton of great cameos from different shows and toy lines, some deep cuts that I thought was really, really cool. And in this, as you see on the cover, Donatello faces Metalhead, but this is a Metalhead from a different reality that this Donatello hasn't encountered before, but he does figure something about all Metalheads. If a Donatello built them, there's something about them that he's going to exploit, which is pretty fun. But we also see, for the people who have lost in this, like, all we've seen from the one side is they just vanish kind of in a blue, like, flash of light. Where have they ended up and who else is there? That part is really, really cool. And we get just more classic Turtles from different shows and different comic eras that I really, really enjoyed. And then we've got one issue left, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this, especially since it kind of fits in with the ongoing Ninja Turtles series. When this comes out in trade, if you're reading that, pick this up because I think you will have a blast with it. We've got our A cover here. And we have this. This is the Ken Micharoni and Dan Schoening variant, which I love. We're getting more classic team-ups. And then, real briefly, another book that we didn't get a chance to read because it came in a box that was late. We have Thundarr the Barbarian. And I've been excited to read this because it's by Jason Aaron, who says he's a big, longtime Thundarr fan, and that's like one of his dream jobs is always to write. So I will have to be checking this out. Yeah. But we just did not have time before the show. The box came in late, so we'll be reading these on our own time later.
Yep.
We've got our A cover here. We have a Bjorn Berens cover. We've got a Matina variant.
I like that one.
And we have a Robert Liefeld variant. That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all we got. So, thank you so much for watching. Head on over to infinityflux.net right now and order these books. They will not last long, especially some of the ones we talked about at the top of the show. They will sell out almost definitely. That's just the way it's been working recently. So make sure you get your copy by going ahead and ordering it. It says they're in stock, and when they release on Wednesday, it'll either be in your box at the store waiting for you, or if you're not local, it will be mailed off to you. So that way you're guaranteed to get it. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel because we are doing more of these videos and some more special stuff coming up soon that you don't want to miss out on. Let us know in the comments which of these books you're most excited for. Let us know, what your Wednesday haul is going to look like. We love comparing notes because we've got some of our own. And I think that's it.
That's it.
Well, until next time, my friends, have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.